The difference between people who constantly struggle with money and those who seem to always land on their feet often has nothing to do with luck. It's not necessarily about how much they make either. From my observation, the real separator really lies in how they react. Some people who rarely struggle financially have trained themselves on how to act quickly, so they don't sit around and wait for things to spiral out of control. They don't pretend that problems are smaller than they actually are, and they definitely don't waste energy wishing things were different. Instead, they notice the first signs of trouble and they get moving. So in other words, they anticipate, they adjust, and they respond. This single skill can make all the difference in the world, so we're going to break down what this can look like in real life. So imagine someone who runs a small business and they start to notice that their sales are dipping. Now, many people in this situation might ignore the warning signs and hope that things improve on their own, or they might tell themselves that slowdowns are only temporary and there's nothing to worry about. But then after a few months, they find themselves in real trouble. Now picture someone who reacts completely different. So this person, they also notice a drop in sales. But the difference here is that, unlike the first person who ignores it, this person immediately asks, "What can I do to fix it?" And from here, they start brainstorming ideas, which might include offering a new service, running a promotion, reaching out to past customers, and looking for other ways to keep cash flowing. So basically, they act fast. And it's not so much that one person faces fewer challenges than the other. It's really a matter of one person addressing the challenge while it's still manageable, instead of waiting until the situation becomes overwhelming. Take another situation, for example. Let's say someone hears rumors about layoffs at work. And there are two possible types of people in this scenario. You have one type who might freeze and hope the rumors are wrong, or they'll convince themselves that it won't affect them, so they push the thought away and keep living as usual. They might even continue spending at a higher level as if nothing might change. But then the worst happens, and when it does, they're caught completely unprepared. Now take someone who rarely struggles financially. Now they get the same information and they hear the same rumors about a possible layoff, but the difference with this person is that their first instinct is not going to be denial, it's going to be preparation. So they might immediately look at their budget and start cutting unnecessary expenses, or they'll polish their resume and start looking at job postings. The job might still be at risk, the layoff could still happen, but when it does, this person is not completely blindsided because they've already put things in motion. And granted, life can be very, very unpredictable, but even so, some financial struggles do not come out of nowhere. Sometimes there are clear warning signs, and you might even start to feel that pressure building before you hit the breaking point. But unfortunately, a lot of people ignore those warning signs because it feels easier in the short term. Oftentimes, admitting there's a problem means you might have to change your habits, and for some people, change is uncomfortable. But the irony is that by avoiding short-term discomfort, we often create long-term chaos. When you wait, problems snowball. The credit card balance grows, the missed payments turn into late fees, and the job loss catches you unprepared. So what could have been a manageable challenge now becomes a full-blown crisis. So if you want to avoid all of this and build the same resilience and stay one step ahead of your money, you have to start recognizing the signals. So a drop in income is not just bad luck. It's a sign to adjust how you're spending and possibly look for other opportunities. Likewise, a rising bill is not just annoying. It's a sign to call your providers and see if you can negotiate your rate or possibly cancel the service. Because when you take your head out the sand and start viewing these changes as signals, you'll naturally respond faster. And one of the most powerful parts about this new habit is the ripple effect, because acting fast in one area will make it easier to act fast in others. Every small move builds momentum, and over time, you will gradually go from being the type of person who lets problems fester to the type of person who stays one step ahead. Now, obviously, even the most proactive people still have difficulties, because no matter how much you prepare, life does not stop throwing curveballs. The difference, though, is that for these people, those challenges rarely turn into long-term struggles. People who act quickly tend to bounce back faster. They solve the problem, adjust their plan, and keep moving forward. And for that reason, from the outside, it can look as if they never struggle financially, but in reality, they just refuse to let it take root.